thing. It says we're in a practice session.
Yeah, that has happened before, where we go live on Facebook and then we have everybody waiting to come in and watch the webinar live, and they're going, what's going on? And Jonathan has a saying for this. He calls it the picnic effect. So some photographer in the UK told him this years ago. So picnic stands for person in chair, not in computer. So he's always using that with me. Problem in chair. Well, person in chair, same thing when it's me, John. Yeah, person. All righty. So guys, tell us in the chat where you're joining us from today. Just tell us your name and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from, because we have a panel from all over the Western world here. So we have the amazing Alina. Alina, tell everybody where you're joining us from.
Your hometown. Hi, everybody. I'm Alina Kungazda. I am based in Dublin, Ireland, and I do women empowerment portraits.
All right. Excellent. So something's telling me that, oh, you can't chat. Okay, let me see if I see. You should not put me in charge of this. All right. I think you can use the chat now. So Alina, you're based so you're in Dublin, so in Lucan, right?
I am, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I have to say you're Lucan very well today. Sorry, that was a pun. Marnie, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. We're about 45 minutes south of Louisville, if you're familiar with Kentucky. And I primarily photograph families and high school seniors.
Excellent. And then we've got double trouble, Rianne and Darren.
Hi, we're Dan and Rianne, and we are from Wales. We specialise in newborns and empowerment photos for ladies.
Good stuff. So what do you do, Darren? Do you just look beautiful and let Rianne do all the work?
I'm the pusher back to that.
Good stuff. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Ronan. How are you?
Tommy Gohanawa Erfad. So only the Irish people understand what I just said. I said, I'm very well, thank you.
Would
So
you like me to introduce myself?
Where are you from, Janine?
Oh, I am from Tampa, Florida. So I am in the nice sunshine state right now. We have beautiful weather today. And I photograph mainly children, mostly themed portraits for children and their families. And I'm also one of the mentors with BSA with Ronan.
All righty. And I just noticed, because we put out a general ask of people who would like to share with the 3XM audience, who's using Quantum and how you're using it. And every single one of you guys are BSA, the fully booked photographer members, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy how you all put your hands up, and because this makes it easier for me, right? Because the conversation is about how photographers are using Quantum to increase their sales, right? But there's a catch here, isn't there? There's something we need to talk about before you guys all share your story, because this is not about leverage, right? You guys in BSA, the fully booked photographer, know that the client is the hero. We don't do hard sell, none of us, right? So it's not about that, because I know that there are people out there who suggest that you can use products for hard sell, but we're not those type of people, right? So we just want to, before we share our stories, we just want to be absolutely clear on that one, that that's where we're coming from. So Alina, I think I'm going to start with you, because I know that, when you sent in some of your notes about how you're using Quantum and how your clients are loving Quantum and all that, you said something in the comments that made me went, wow, I love that. I love that, because we're always saying, look outside your industry, right? Look outside your industry for ways that we can see how those companies are operating and bring that into our business. Can you tell us your whiskey story?
Yes. So initially, when Quantum was launched, I was super excited about it, because it's a way for me to instantly give photos to my clients, and they absolutely love that. But last year, me and my husband were shopping, and he's a whiskey person. And we were one evening in the shops, and I was very tired and bored, and I was just waiting for him to pick something. And he's really particular about his whiskeys. So I just noticed on the shelf that Jameson has different packaging, and I was like, what's that? Did they rebrand it? And he's like, no, that's a different line of products, and it's called Black Caskets. So we had a chat about it, and then that gave me an idea of creating like a special membership for my clients using Quantum. So I rebranded my Quantum to the Black Label card, and it's a club. So when my clients join this by just purchasing a certain package, they are basically joining this special members club that for the moment gives them free sessions for the rest of their life, or for the rest of my life when I'm in business. And I'm still working on some things for them to kind of make it even more special and to give them more value into that.
Right. So it gets me. So when I become a Black Label Alina member, right, one of your members, this card gets me. I don't have to pay for sessions ever again. Does it get me into a, like, is there a Facebook group, or is there something there?
Not for the moment.
No, is that the plan?
Sorry, no, it is in the plan. I'm still trying to get more people into the club before I create the club. And then because I recently started studying psychotherapy, that club is going to be more about empowerment rather than marketing my photography, like nurturing in a different way there. So I'm still working on that.
Good stuff. So what else does the card get me? Like, does it, I don't know, get me a free bottle of whiskey every year, or does it, is there something step into it, or is it?
No, but most of my clients would get like huge flower arrangements for their birthdays, and free sessions for the moment. And as I said, I'm still working on it, but every time I mention it to my clients, and I mention the free sessions for the rest of their life, they are really excited about it. And they see the value of making a purchase today for long term.
So let's say I become a Black Label member today, right? And I come in for another session 3 months time. Let's just say it's 3 months time, right? Do my photographs that I buy, the images that I buy from you, do they all go onto the one cloud with this card, or how does that operate?
No. So if you purchase a photo session today, you pick your favorite portraits, they're going to be printed, and you will get the digital version on the card, and you can take the card home on the day of your viewing appointment. And then when you are ready for your next photo session, you don't have to pay for the experience again, but you will have to pay for the photos.
Yes, but the same card will bring me to the photos from both sessions, right?
Well, if it's in 3 months, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because you'd be able to add the images for the client. So like Janine, who's doing themes, right? In theory, she could have one card per client. And then the photos from all the themes get added to the one card. She could do it that way. I don't think she does it that way, but we'll ask her, because that's the only way to find out, right? So Janine, tell us, how are you using Quantum? And when your clients see it, like, what's their reaction? Like, are they, just another one of those NFC card things, or what did they say?
So I do not use it for my theme sessions. I'm actually using it for my high school seniors. And so for my high school seniors, I guess I didn't mention that in the beginning. We do photograph high school seniors as well. And so we photograph about 50 to 60 a year. And so our seniors, especially probably like the past 5 or 6 years, digital has been the main ask from the high school senior. They want the digital images. They want them for Instagram. They want them for whatever it is that is the hot social media platform of the moment for a high school senior. That's what they want them for. And so my struggle in sales with seniors the past few years has been balancing what the senior wants versus what the mom wants. And so the mom wants the printed memory, the album, the wall portrait that we sell. The senior's like, whatever, I just want my digital images. Just give me what I want for my phone. So now, as opposed to before, it was, we would work on the mom and say, yeah, we'll get you complimentary social media images of whatever mom gets, don't you worry. Now we're able to, and then the senior mainly just sits there and just vetoes whatever the mom says, or, they end up arguing over the poses, and she thinks she looks fat and he think, I don't know, whatever. So it's a fun mess of personalities, and that Marnie's laughing because she knows. So the quantum card, what we ended up doing was I was able to wow the seniors. So last senior season, we brought in the quantum card. And so as soon as the seniors would say, I just want the digital images, I'm like, oh, I got you covered. Let me show you this really cool new product that we have. And it's going to get you everything you want in a way that's so much cooler than you're even thinking. And so I'm like, give me your phone. And so they'll give me their phone, and I would tap the quantum card, and it would bring up, and I was always very careful to make sure I had it with someone from the same school, right? So they would recognize the senior, and I had done it from a senior from the previous year. So it was a senior from the previous year. I tapped their phone, like, oh my God, it's Sean. It's all of his digital images. How'd you do that? And so they're like, Mom, we want this, right? And that's how I started off most of the sale, because I knew how the story was going to go. As soon as we finished looking at the images, the senior's going to say, I just want the digital images. I show them the quantum card, and then the senior's like, Mom, that's what I want. And I'm like, okay, well, here are the 2 ways you can get it. And so it was a great way for me to tie together what the senior wanted versus what mom wanted, and bring the two together to work my sale.
Because that's always been the challenge with high school senior, right? Is that we do have multiple clients in the room. I remember years ago learning this acronym called IBUILD. So guys, write this down because it's really good. IBUILD. So it's in any sale, right? There's all these people. There's the influencer, there's the buyer, the user, the lodge keeper, because gate wouldn't go with IBUILD, it'd be IBGD, and D for decision maker. So they can be all in one person in any scenario you're with, or they can be multiple people, right? So when you're dealing with high school senior, you have the influencer who might have been the high school senior who said, Mom, this is where I want to go. Or it could have been Mom who saw your stuff and said, this is where we're going. You have the buyer, you have the user. So the user in this case, the high school senior, has a different use case to Mom, right? And where in years to come, you guys all know, and I know, that the high school senior will appreciate the printed product in time. Right now, it's not on their radar, right? So that's another thing that we see a lot of high school senior photographers saying is, that Mom is going to mind this album for you until maybe you get married or you're a bit older, when you're going to appreciate it, and she'll gift it to you then. And that's why, Mom, you need a folio box, right? So you can hold on to the folio box forever. So soft sell there. Did you see that? I'm sorry, I had to do it. So these things are all important to understand who you have, and all those roles are being played by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people depending. So just to be aware of that. So Marnie, tell us what you're up to.
So we use our cards a little bit differently. So we have we basically tell our clients whatever they purchase in if they purchase an album or a folio box, they're going to get we call them cloud cards here just because it's easy for them to remember. So we tell them you get your cloud card, and that's going to have all the digitals of every photo you purchase on it. So that for us has encouraged sales of the box, of the folio box and of the album, because they want the card. They see the card and it's super cool, and that gets them excited about purchasing extra products. So it's sort of a given that they're going to order something for the wall. And this is added to our sales. More importantly for us, what it means is that our clients are actually getting high quality versions of their images in print in a variety of ways. So it's been a great way for us to increase our sales, but it's also been good for our clients because they have more of what they want, and it's made them a lot happier.
All right. So, and Marnie, what has the reaction of your clients been, right? So we did a lot of consumer research up front to understand the different marketing generations and what the reactions might be. But what are you seeing in the field, right?
Right. So just like Janine, our high school seniors, when they see that, they're so ridiculously excited about it. Like anything that's technologically savvy, they're just super excited about it. And they're gonna have to pick it up and they've got to put it on their phones, and they're really, really just curious about what's going on with it. Then anybody, kind of my generation and, picks it up and they're like, well, how does that work? It's great. It's become like a topic of conversation at that point. So it gets people just thinking more about the different things that they can be doing with what they have. So I think it's beyond just being like a neat product for them. It's been something that's actually, just starting more conversation, and we can kind of go from there into all sorts of things. We can talk about, technology and the fact that these come from our friends in Ireland, which everybody loves, that this is, it's something unique and special that no one else has. And that definitely raises the value of it for our clients.
So do you tell them that the leprechauns, get their magic dust out and sprinkle it on the quantum cards?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay,
That's almost exactly word for word what we say.
Okay, I love it. All right, so Darren, Rianne, I don't know, because as I said before, everybody here is in the Fully Booked Photographer by BSA. So, and we call you guys Double Trouble in there, right? So I don't know whether it's right to call you Double Trouble here on a 3XN webinar, or we just call you Darren and Rianne.
Fine. It doesn't bother us at all.
It's really fantastic to do about it,
All right, tell us what you're doing with quantum.
Well, we use quantum a couple of ways. Like we've got our normal our new book clients, which we basically use it for not so much for leverage, but more for
They're in the collections.
they're
so
in the
basically
collections, so they upsell and well, I guess it's sort of look at by the collection rather than individual sort of prints and framed images,
Okay, so I may need to translate there a little bit, because the Welsh accent can be sometimes a bit thicker than the Irish accent, and the Irish accent is a bit thicker than the Tampa accent, which is a bit thicker than the Kentucky accent, maybe, and so we got to deal with all that.
Darren's accent is completely on his own.
That's not. So you're disowning Darren's accent as a Welsh accent, are you?
Yes, it's
right,
not
okay.
a Welsh accent.
Okay. So, but here's what I've said. I've heard that your price list, you've got a la carte pricing, and then you've collections. And
Yes.
so if I buy some wall art and a folio box, that's a collection, and I save money rather than buying those items as individual pieces.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you telling me that quantum's only available in the collections? Is that how you've done it?
Yeah, that's what we tend to do. Majority of my newborn parents, they wish to have digitals because they're at that age, it's in that era, isn't it? So we do sell them separately, but only as a last resort. I do try and anchor the wall arts and the folio boxes with it. And 9 out of 10 do tend to go for that option because they get so much more value for their money.
I love that word. Did you hear that word? Value. Don't you like that word, value? It's often not underestimated, I think, the power of value, because I don't know if you guys saw that latest research that was done in the US, and it was done about consumer buying decisions, right? And what the research said was this, that 5% of people, right, regard the highest price as the highest quality, right? So 5% of people will buy it just because it's the most expensive, because they believe it's the best and they want the best of everything, right? The bottom 15% are what our good friend Steve Saprito calls the vultures, right? They want everything for nothing, those people. And the 80% people, the remaining 80% want value.
Yeah.
So if we're focused on how do we deliver extra value, you're going to appeal to 80% of people. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So I saw that, I went, hallelujah, because I've been talking this stuff for decades, but didn't have any research to back it up. So when I finally saw the research, I went, thank God I got something right. It's not often I get something right, but in this case, we got something right. So guys, if you've got any questions, those of you who are joining us all, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, right, and we will answer them. And I absolutely agree with you, Rachel. Rachel says, I'm loving all the accent, shows how photography brings us all together. And it does, doesn't it? It does. Photography unites the world. So I think if the world was ran by photographers, that we would have far more peace in the world. But anyway, we won't go there now. So Alina, tell me then about, because you guys are all, you guys all have clients that you're transforming their lives in completely different ways, right? Which is great to see as well. So Alina, just talk to us about your clients, because your clients, tell us about your ideal client. Like, who are they? Like, what you know, I can see from the work behind you that they look to be primarily women. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your ideal client. Who is she? Why does she come to you? How is she transformed by going through your business? You know, and what would she miss out on, Alina, if she didn't book an experience with you?
Okay. So I've been working on this during your course in 2019, and I found out then that my ideal client is a woman between 30 and 45, who is a mom and a businesswoman or a very busy person in work and has very little time for herself. Maybe a person who has been through a lot in her life, maybe some sort of trauma, maybe growing up with people who were always telling her she's not good enough and she's not worth it. So I've put together an experience for them that helps her basically rediscover who she is today and find her power and her confidence. And if she's not booking a session with me, she will be miserable for the rest of her life. And she will continue to see herself in the way that somebody told her that she is, and that's not necessarily true.
So what you're selling is confidence.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. I love that. So if I'm a woman, which is hard to believe, I'm not a woman, but if I was a woman, right, and you're a client, and I'm feeling that, you know, that life has just been difficult to me and I don't feel as confident, when I book an experience with you, at the end of that experience, I've regained my confidence. Mm-hmm. And the wall art you sell, which I can see behind you, to me, it's not about the wall art. It's about the emotion and how that makes me feel every single day. Or the folio box, the 3XM folio box, when I see the work in that, it reminds me every single day of how confident I truly am. So I would miss out on that confidence if I didn't go through your experience, right?
Exactly. So it's amazing to have all these digital photos and post them on all the social media and get all the likes and the hype from that. But I think that as a woman, and probably as a human being, when you wake up in the morning and you're not waking in your best state, when you walk around your house with your coffee and you see yourself in the best version that you can be today, the thoughts in your mind change. And I think that changes your whole day and probably your whole experience in the world. So what I'm doing is trying to educate women on the styling side as well, so they can change their fashion style in their everyday lives. But the main idea is to change that image that we grew up with, and just think about myself as an amazing person and a good-looking woman, a sexy woman as well. And that's pretty much changing your confidence and your power.
Love it. Love it. So Marnie, before I ask you the same question, there was a question for you here from Kimberly, but I just have to put on my eyes so I can see it. Just bear with me. So Kimberly asks, Marnie, do you still offer the USB with your boxes and the Quantum as an add-on, or how does that work for you?
We just offer the Quantum. We don't offer USBs. We actually haven't offered USBs for a long time just because they have, I mean, my computer doesn't even have a slot for a USB anymore. I have to have like 35 attachments to make a USB happen. So those are gone. Quantum is all we use. If it's something small, I will, you know, if it's a throwaway basically kind of thing, I'll throw it into a Dropbox folder, because the digital files are not the point for us. That's not what we want our clients to have overall. Like, that's not the only thing we want them to have. It's a fun little add-on, honestly, but for us, it's about having that wall art in their home, having those folio boxes to look at every day, having that album to touch. Those are the things that are really important. And so the card for us, the Quantum card, is simply just a way to kind of give them a little bit of backup and security. It's a fun, cool thing that they get excited about, but we do throw all of that, the emphasis back on the artwork. So
Marnie, tell us about the client that, you know, you transform their lives every day through your work. You know, who are they? And again, what would they miss out on if they didn't go through an experience with you and invest?
Yeah, so we have a few, but our primary one is our mom of multiple kids who are involved in all the things, sports, every extracurricular activity they can get them into, they are in. They are running constantly. Some of our moms work and some don't, and we don't differentiate between the two because it doesn't matter. They are still ridiculously busy trying to keep up with these kids, and they all feel guilty because even though they are running like crazy, they still feel like they're dropping the ball on making sure that their kids feel loved and supported. And so what we do for them is to help them to stop and to get to celebrate those kids, to get them up on the wall so that those kids can see tangible representations every single day of the love that their parents have for them, to help them remember that they're wall worthy even when they lose the soccer game, to help them to know no matter what happens, mom and dad are there for them. Their family has their back. They're there for each other. And so if, you know, they're not booking with us, they don't have that representation on the wall. They continue to worry that they have not done the best they can for their kids. And yeah, obviously we don't want to see that happen. So I think, did I get everything there in your question?
Yeah, you did. Because when I asked 3 questions in one, it's hard, isn't it? I shouldn't be doing stuff like that. So tell me this, Marnie, what I've heard is you give families a chance to reconnect with each other and to take that time to reconnect and to show their love for each other so that every day when they see what's on the wall or in the folio box or in the album, that they're reminded of that love, that they're there for each other no matter what, no matter how busy life is, they're there for each other. That's what I've heard. Is that right? Or
that's absolutely it. We talk all the time about celebrating the ways that our families love each other, and the ways that they show that to each other, and trying to find ways to represent that artistically for them is kind of that's our big deal. Yeah, we love around here. That's kind of
yeah, you should keep that. You're getting like Brad now with his, you know, work, everything's a double. But I much prefer your version. You know, we love love. I think you should have that as. Do you have that already as a tagline or?
No, but now it's going to be for sure.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Brad, be proud of that one with his double words for everything. So there is another question here that I should ask. So Kim asks, Janine, do you want to take this one? So do you brand the face of the card so it acts as a soft marketing piece when clients show it to family and friends? Or is the face of the card tailored to the client? Great question, Kim.
That is a good question. So for us, we do both sides. So the one side has the client on it and the back side has the studio on it. So we custom order each of our cards per client. And 3XM is so good at how fast they ship to us, it doesn't matter. Wink, wink.
So it's nice.
Aw.
Oh, okay. So you have your branding on one side where the QR backup code is, and that's a photo of the client, right, Darren?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I'm a big fan of the backup QR code.
The backup queue, yeah, it's here's where it's handy, guys, is that some phones, depending on their age, NFC is not turned on.
Right.
So you don't want to lose that. You know, if you lose that initial impact, you can go straight to the QR code. So it's just a backup just in case, right? So it's good to have that. So Darren, Rhiannon, tell us about, because you've different ideal clients, right? Because you were doing newborn only, and then you start to do boudoir, and that's really doing well for you, and you're doing both. But I'm curious, before we ask about your ideal client, so which comes first, the boudoir or the baby?
That's a hard one.
Does one lead to the other, or I'm just curious?
No, not really, because they are different clients.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
okay,
They are a different avatar completely.
okay. I was just curious.
Our newborn clients, so we like them to be a professional couple. And then what we do for them is freeze those moments, because as you all know, with newborns, they're not that small for long. Newborn photography wasn't around when my children were young, and it breaks me when I think I haven't actually got those memories. Only the other day, we were in the studio and we had a little girl in, and her toe was turned. And I said to Darren, because our granddaughter's only 4, and I said, oh, look, I said, her toe's like Phoebe's. And he went, I don't remember that. So I had to dig a photo out of our granddaughter, and that's the thing, you forget all these little things. So what we help them do is capture the new journey they started together and help them freeze those moments that just fly by.
And our boudoir clientele, we sort of after 35 plus. The oldest we've had in is 70.
Yeah.
We've got a 78-year-old due in a couple of weeks. But we're after people who have lost their self-confidence, who've been through traumatic journeys, or don't feel really special. And we like to bring out that special to show them how special they actually are.
The inner goddess.
Yeah. We had just the other day, we had one woman in, she's never owned a full length mirror because she didn't love herself. But after the shoot, she went out and she bought herself a full length mirror.
Love it.
And that's the sort of what we're trying to do. That's priceless, you know.
That's priceless, isn't it?
So Rhiannon and Darren, a question for both of you, right? I'll try make sure you don't get too emotional with this, but Rhiannon, like, we're asked all the time, like, how do you identify your ideal client? Like, and often we say, just look in the mirror and write your story, right? So Rhiannon, you said a little bit earlier that you missed out on having newborn photography of your children, right? And that's part of your why and your purpose, that you don't want any family to miss out on that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you missed out on that. So, you know, missing out on that, how does that make you feel today?
It's quite sad, actually, when you look back and you think you haven't got those memories. You always think tomorrow's going to be there, but it's not always. It's not always there, because obviously your newborn is only so small for so long. It's literally the first 2 to 3 weeks you've got to capture that really tiny stage. So and like I said, it wasn't around when our children were small. It was literally a plonk your baby on a hospital bed, take the photo, and that's what you had. So yeah, it is very sad when I look back and I think I haven't got those photos, because they were literally sitting by the time I had their first photos. They were like 6 months.
So tell us about the day that you realized that that's the difference you wanted to make with the art and science photography, to use that to make sure that no other woman or family miss out on that. Like, just tell us when that happened.
When we started our journey, we were a general photography studio, and then within a few years we went on 1 or 2 courses, and we just realized this is who we are, this is what we love. And it's just so we've been newborn specialists now probably about the past 8 years.
Yeah.
About the past 8 years. And it's, as I say, it's absolutely, I love going on these journeys with people. I love it. Seeing their emotion when they're in the shoot, sitting there watching us do everything, taking photos from the backgrounds and watching us work, and then they see their emotions when they see the photos. You know, because we also do like a little during the shoot, we take a handprint and a footprint of each baby. So when they come in then to when they have the design consultation, that is just a little extra for them. And you know, because that foot and hand will never be that small again. So that is a lovely, you know, so it's just something extra for them to, you know, for them to feel we do care about your memories. We do care, you know, it's not just taking your photo. We do care about everything that goes along with it. So they've got fantastic and lovely times to look back on.
Yeah.
So Darren, I'm curious, because to me, looking in on the outside, it's a funny mix, newborn and boudoir, right? The one studio. So just talk to us about why boudoir. Where did that come from?
Well, yeah, we were right. Well, I've had a couple of knee operations, so I thought, well, we need to sort of think of the future and sort of look at sort of safeguarding our future from
Not being able to get on your knees.
not being able to get on my knees to that. And we were thinking of what else can we do. And before I met Ray, I had some bad relationships and things like that. And obviously it's close to my heart in trying to get women out, well, no, but people out of that sort of situation. And then I seen it happen with a close relative of mine as well, and close friends of ours have gone through it, and you think, well, surely something can be done to sort of try and help help people sort of see that everyone is beautiful, everyone deserves to feel special, and especially with if you're feeling special yourself, that portrays down on your kids and that. Because I'm a great believer, you've got to look after yourself before you can look after other people. And unfortunately, what happens is people don't look after themselves, and then they find it very hard to get out of a rut, you know. So we there's you went on the journey.
I
started
going on the journey myself, because I've had 3 children. Nothing is the same after you have 3 kids. So I went on the journey myself, and I know I'm not what I was when I was 20. I'm never going to be that person again. But I know when I get up in the morning, I look at my photos on my wall, and they take me back to the day. They take me back to how I felt on the day. And I just think, damn, you're not that bad, love. You know what I mean? You've had 3 kids and you still look okay. So if I can pass that on to somebody else, you know, then that's our job done. So yeah,
So
it is very meaningful.
So here's what you've told us is that your ideal client is a reflection of you, but it's also linked to your purpose, to your
Yeah.
why, as to why you are photographers. And I know, Darren, you started to talk about the boudoir being about you and your needs, but I know you, that it's not really about that. That's a result, right?
Yeah.
It
Yes,
was
it is.
really about when you were putting together your project for your fellowship and you start to photograph these women for the reasons you explained to us, and you saw the difference that made, right?
Yeah.
It was when you were going through that process that it really showed the difference.
Yeah. That's it, you know, like I don't just said about my needs and that, but I'd say that I don't want to sort of get emotional on these things, and I am a very emotional person. Just the other day, Steve had me to got me crying in front of everyone, you know, within 3 minutes, you know.
I'm not going to do that. I promise. I promise I'm not going to do that.
But yeah, I was on a journey myself before I met Darren. Oh God, 26 years ago. I was in bad relationships. I didn't have much confidence when I met Darren. And then as the years have gone on, obviously, having children and everything, I started to lose my confidence again. So yes, you know, it is to give people back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he does get emotional. He does get very emotional. I will say that he's in a
Okay,
very
I won't ask him anything again about it. I promise. not until the fully booked photographer next webinar tomorrow night, or get I'm only joking. But so Steve has a question about, I don't know whoever wants to take this can take this. So Steve wants to know about, can you talk to the longevity of the card in 2 ways? One, the 3XM website says all quantum clouds stay live for 3 years with the option to extend after this date. What is the pricing after 3 years? My gosh, I own the company and I don't know the answer to that, Steve, but we'll get it for you, right? But more to the point, on that, how do you guys feel about that 3-year thing? What's your approach to that?
I think it's absolutely fine, because once they've downloaded the cards and they've uploaded them to the cloud and things, the photos that they get anyway, so they've always got them. But the card as well, once it sort of like expires after 3 years, it just might give them a push to actually come in and have another photo shoot, because that's when they should be due for another one.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And then Steve asked a second question, so I'll ask someone else to take this. So what protection is there to our customers still being able to access their clouds if 3XM were ever to be sold or were to go out of business? Maybe I should deal with that one, should I? So the answer, Steve, is threefold. The first one is, regards it being sold, it certainly is not the intention to sell 3XM, but I understand where you're coming from. But in whatever agreements and contracts we enter with our clients, which are all our terms and conditions on our website, they would have to apply to anyone who bought it, but it's not for sale, just so we're clear on that. The second thing is that 3XM is it's owned by a company called Photo Value Limited, which is our company because we've numerous brands, and Photo Value have been in business since we're 42 years this year in business. I know we're only new in the US, but we're 42 years in business as a business. I know that might mean a lot to a lot of people, but when you combine that longevity and sustainability with the fact that we implement profit first in our business, I can assure you that we will be one of the last companies standing in the photography industry worldwide. That's what I can say. And if you haven't heard of Profit First, guys, another reason to join BSA, the Fully Booked Photographer, or just buy the book by Mike Michalowicz and see how it is. But if you need some help with implementing it in your business, I'm also a qualified Profit First professional, so we can help you with all that. So hopefully that's answered your question, Steve, on that one. Janine, tell us about your clients. Like, you know, who are they? Who's your ideal client? What would they miss out on if they didn't go to Janine's for Cloud9 Studios for an experience? And I'm sure there's another question in there somewhere.
Well, Ronan, they never get turned into a wizard like you were behind you.
Oh yeah, should I show
I know, right?
There you go. So this is an example. As Janine's talking, I'll flick through this. So go ahead, Janine.
So my ideal client, I'm not going to talk about the seniors because that's not the majority of our business. That's just the majority of where we use our quantum cards. But the majority of our business is moms. So I'm not going to be laughing. I shouldn't have said anything. My main client is moms with young children. So mostly children under the age of 5. Typically, it's the first child. So my mom is very busy, but not busy like Marnie's mom because they're not older yet. So they're not involved in all these crazy activities. But they are working moms who, most of my clients work pretty late hours. Their kids are in daycare and they suffer from guilt from that sense that they're working all day. By the time they get home, it's pretty much dinner, bath, and bed. And then they wake up the next morning and the routine repeats. And so they never get a lot of time with their kids and they never get a chance to create experiences for their children. And so my mom is also the Disney mom. That's where they get a lot of their experiences. They are, I only live an hour from Disney for all of those of you who want to be jealous. And so a lot of my clients are season ticket holders. They have season passes to Disney. Like this is they're looking for experiences and ways to do things that are memorable with their children. So what I have done is created those types of experiences via portrait sessions at the studio. And so what happened to me was, I mean, up until, and this was a recent change, well, within the last 7 years. So before 7 years ago, I was really I would photograph children, their ages and stages. And as they would come in, we would photograph them what they looked like. Then I started realizing, almost like Rianne, who realized she didn't have newborn portraits of her children, I realized I was forgetting what my daughter was, what she loved. I forgot her favorite stuffed animal. I forgot when she liked Mickey. I forgot when she loved princesses. And I started, like when I had my second child, I started panicking that I was forgetting what it was that Aaron liked at different, I don't know, I had a mom moment. And so I decided that instead of just capturing what kids look like, I wanted to capture also what they're obsessed with, because that too tells the story of their childhood, not just what they look like. So I started then incorporating these experience sessions with themes into what we were offering so that parents could bring their kids in to capture what their child was obsessed with at that age, not just what they looked like, but then to turn it into this incredible experience for the parent to share with their child. Because the working mom, and again, like Marnie, we do have a lot of stay-at-home moms too, and they suffer from the same thing because their kids are still, it's crazy. Moms, we have guilt all around. And so we created these experiences. So now they come in and it's a fun experience for their child, for the mom. Sometimes the dad comes, sometimes they don't. And it's really for them to be able to share in this and then have these incredible magical photos and portraits of their children in whatever it is that they transformed into. And so that experience we're providing for the parents, but also for the child. And so they get to come play, they get to come imagine. And we're really hitting that sweet spot in that age of imagination where a child, if they dress up like Princess Belle, really think that they're Princess Belle for those 30 minutes and they twirl and they play and the magic just comes to life in them. And so that's really what we focus on. And if they didn't come in for that, well, where's the magic, Ronan? They wouldn't have experienced the magic.
And Janine, I'm not going to dive really deep emotionally into this because
Please don't. You've already made me cry.
I promise I won't. But if you guys want to know, how Janine, and everybody here is connected to their why and their purpose as a photographer, right? Which is a key thing to figure out. But if you want to know more about Janine's why, do check out our podcast, The Fully Booked Photographer, and listen to the episode on knowing your why. Because on that episode, it wasn't planned, it wasn't meant to happen, but Janine did get emotional about her why, and that's a good thing because that shows how this is not about money. This is not about, that's a result, as Simon Sinek would say. If you lead with your purpose and your why, the result will look after itself. That's what he teaches. And you'll hear on that podcast about what this means to Janine, right? What this truly means to her. And her purpose and why it's aligned and why it's a reflection of her and all that. So I encourage you to do that. So Jack has a question and any one of you can take it, whichever one of you would like to. So he's after seeing the card that you have, Darren, that you showed, right? And Jack, the function of the card is that when you tap your client's phone, it opens up the cloud of all the images that they bought from you on their phone, right? And you tell us in the chat that you just send a link or whatever, right? So we work hard as businesses to deliver an experience to our clients that surprises and delights, that amazes them, that wows them, right? So how, like, if I'm a photographer, and I know Jack's business, he does amazing pet photography, right? And delivers an amazing experience for his clients, right? But if he's sending the digital social media files by a Dropbox link or something like that, isn't it like he's worked so hard all the way through the experience? And then this is one of the last touch points he has with the client before that client decides to come back again. And Janine, do you know what? I'm going to direct it to you, because you recommended a great book to me around Christmas time that you've read, The Power of Moments, I believe it's called. Can you just talk to that in terms of the power of moments and the fact when we go through an experience that we remember 2 or 3 parts of that experience and how important they are? Because I think sending the link aligns with one of those moments, and Disney are really good at this. Disney, who you love, and you look at how Disney do things. Just talk to us about that, Janine.
Yeah, so I highly recommend the book. It's called The Power of the Moments. I actually have it sitting right here because I reference it a lot. Highly recommend this book. And it talks about how with our clients, how we have to create these moments. And it's the moments that people remember, not the entire experience. And so, and he talks about the 3 spots: is the beginning, the middle, and the end are typically the most powerful moments that people remember. Of course, the whole joke at Disney is it's the most magical place on earth, except for 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But anyway, so I digress. The end, that delivery of your product to your client is so critical, because it's the last touch point, essentially, except for the thank you card and hopefully a follow-up phone call that you're making. But that delivery of your product that's the culmination of everything you've done. It's not the session, it's not the sales appointment, it's the product delivery. And while you can make your email with the link really amazing, and ours is really amazing, but if you are actually able to physically give a tangible product with the digital delivery, and then be able to do a demonstration with it, and they're like, give me your phone, and you can tap it and make sure it all works. And now you're having another interaction. It's another moment. You're creating another special moment for them at the very end, as opposed to a stagnant link, if that makes sense. So that delivery of the digital products becomes another moment. And that's where it becomes so powerful.
So there are two ways of looking at the card itself too, though, right? So some of our clients have a workflow where they want to have the cards there and then for the client, right? So I don't know if any of you guys are doing this, but some of our clients with Quantum, they won't put a photograph of the client on it. They'll have it branded both sides, right? So that they can order them like you would a USB in 10s, 15, 20s and have them there, right? So that's one option. Is anyone doing that? Or any of the 4 of you doing that?
I am.
Alina's doing that. Alina's doing that. Cool. All right. And then the other option then is to personalize it with a photograph of the client, right? So the delivery cycle is a bit longer on that, right? Because you're ordering them in batches for all the sessions you've done that week or whatever, and it takes to 12 working days from when you order to when you receive them. So in that case, why wait for the card with the photograph on it? Because when I tap the phone and the images are there on the phone anyway, what's the idea behind having a photograph one side and the brand on the other?
I think the best thing that I've heard, and I came straight from you, Ronan, is just that it's that visual reminder. Like, they're going to keep that card with them because it's them on the card. It's not like just some generic business card or something that's, floating around in your purse. It's something that you're going to keep in your wallet because it's your family or your pet, whoever it is, on that card when it's branded. And then it's a constant reminder every time you see that. You may not be tapping it to your phone every day, but every time you see that card, it's a reminder of Rianne and Darren and being at that session, and oh gosh, the baby's getting bigger. Maybe it's time to call them again. So it functions on a lot of different levels, I think.
All right. So I have a question for you all then. So obviously the quantum cards with the cloud and the images in the cloud, and they're up there, and you get the packaging that's branded to your brand. I had yours, Marnie, and I don't know what I've done with it because I've been taking books. Oh, here we go. So it has the packaging and it's branded with your logo, and then the card is printed with a photo from the client, like Darren and Rianne showed you. And you know, they're not cheap, right? So how have you dealt with building quantum into your margins and your pricing? Who'd like to take that one?
I can. I mean, that's fine because we use quantum in our top offerings. So we use it as an upsell, right? So for our seniors, we have 2 albums. We have the simple album, and then we have the deluxe album, and they get it if they get the deluxe album. We also offer the digital collections that they can add on to a wall portrait, and they can do 5, 10, 30, or all. If they do all, they get the quantum card. So it helps us to upsell them from the 30 to the all. So the $50, I think, for whatever it is. Oh, and if they get the diamond box, it comes with it, in which case then you don't have to pay for the quantum card because it's already part of the box. So excellent. So for me, the price difference between those product upgrades is like $700, $800. So to spend $50 to make an extra $800, I would do that any day, every day. Right. So that for me, it's an incentive. So they upgrade to the higher package to get the thing that the senior wants. And so we've started actually doing that now. We've started offering it now in our first birthdays, actually. Ronan, I don't think I even told you this. We just started doing it now that we've gotten even more comfortable with quantum. So we have that $15.95 album and the $2,000 album. And so we're looking at if they upgrade to the bigger album, so they go from the 8x8 to the 10x10, then they'll get the quantum card as well to match. So we've been playing with it, but for us, it works really well to use it as an incentive to upgrade to the next size or the higher quantity of images.
So is there anyone not doing that? Is there anyone providing it to every client, regardless of what they invest with you?
I am.
You are. Okay, Lena, tell us your story.
So I've noticed that most of my clients love talking about this experience afterwards. And I put in the special links that you can set up there, I put a funnel link for referrals. And I just look at it as instead of paying for Facebook advertisement, I just gift this to a client. Even if they buy a la carte and they go over a small amount that I have in my mind, or if I just see that she really enjoyed her experience and I see changes in her from the session to the viewing appointment, but I see she's struggling financially, I just gift it to her. And I know that on the long term, I know for sure she's going to come back next year when financially she's better and she's going to make a bigger investment. And I see it as a gift and as a saving from Facebook as well. Because I'd say Facebook has loads of money. They don't need more. And if I get a client to refer me, like it's a personal referral, the friend is coming in with a certain preparation. Yeah, and they kind of know what to expect, and it's easier for me to work with them as well.
So you're using it, Alina, as a surprise and delight, right? So it's surprising, delighting, it's wowing your client. And just what Alina's talking about, so this is the interface. So the interface has been designed to drive referrals as well. So the top button says My Photos. There's a photographer link there then that has a story branded mini profile website page on it too, which allows them to scroll to the end and contact you on any platform you want them to be able to contact you on. So Messenger, it doesn't show that well when I'm shining it in front of my camera, but they can contact you from anywhere there. And you can also then customize some of the links. So Alina has one of the buttons customized to bring them to register to win offer or a direct offer or whatever that offer might be. So when the person is having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever their tipple is with a friend, and they're looking at the photos and say, that's amazing, who's the photographer? They can connect directly and actually go ahead and register an interest with Alina to have a conversation about how they can go through the same experience as their friend. So that's why Alina has her strategy. Oh my gosh, the hour is up. How did we manage that? That was quick.
Yeah.
I could talk to you guys all night though. I could talk to you guys all night, all morning, all afternoon, and we'd be still yapping. But amazing. Listen, Alina, Marnie, Darren, Rianne, Janine, thank you so much for sharing today. Because what I love to see is, often we hear photographers saying, oh, the photographer down the road, that they're doing this and they're doing that and they're competing with me and all that. And you can see here, even though you're not just down the road from each other, you're all so different. You're all using the art and science of photography to make a difference to different people. And you're not competing with photographers, right? You're
No, not at all.
no, you're competing for that value spend on booking you guys to make a difference to their lives. And that's your purpose. And that's why you do it. And I love that. So thank you so much for sharing your stories. You're an inspiration to us all. And on that note, what do we normally say in BSA, the Fully Booked Photographer?
Goodbye.
On that note,
Bye. See you next week.
see you next week. Good night.
See you
See
next
you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah.